All right, this is Conscious of Crazy Kind Science, with knowledge or crazy, man. We back again. So man, where we left off, man, media, I feel like it's some things getting thrown out there, I feel like everybody want to imitate the black woman, but don't want to be the black woman, of course. You know, I notice like every blue moon, like, dang, these white girls, they getting tans, they getting some melanin in them. It's like they shiny, they look light skinned out here. They look like my complexion. Like what's going on? It's like, man, and I feel like it's kind of pimping. And then if they're more, I feel like it's more pimping of the, because our men, we like to spread our, fruits of our labor, man. We like to spread our oats, man. Well, what's your feelings on what's going on? I feel like it's all psyche, man. It's all psyche, man. I feel like it's all by design. People, Batman, if I said her last name wrong, like, yeah, like
Barton.
Batman, yeah, it's like, you know, people going to Cuba to get that done today. Like, man, what's your feelings on all that, man? It's like the game ain't the same, of course. Like it's a norm.
For
normal.
Black women, I would say love yourself.
Exactly.
Love yourself internally, whether you got stretch marks, whether you had 2 children and your stomach hang over a little bit, love yourself. There's going to be some African man out there who's going to love you for all your flaws and all. You just have to take the time to find him, to weed him out, or him find you, whatever the case may be. Because a lot of times our women fall into the trap of, body alterations and end up finding guys who only want them for their body. And, some women okay with that. Some Black women are okay with having that. I only want a man who, whatever, he take care of me. That's okay. But for those who are genuinely looking for love, take your time. Be in love with your flaws, and he will eventually fall in love with your flaws. As far as white women mimicking what they perceive to be the average Black woman's body, and I say perceive because not every Black woman is built like that, right? That's a stereotype that all Black women are built like Serena Williams and things like that. That's a derogatory stereotype that comes from slavery, right? That we're just these big, robust, over-sexualized, individuals, specifically our women. And so I find a problem with that in itself. But I also want to say this, because you say everybody wants to be the Black woman and nobody wants to be the Black woman. I would argue, and this is just my opinion, women can get upset with me if they like, but even the Black woman doesn't want to be the Black woman.
Hey, amen.
With the skin bleaching that's going on, with the blonde weaves, with the
Serena,
mannerisms, that I see Black women carrying out, boy, like that's not even how our women would, like when I was growing up, and I grew up in a very Haitian community, but the African American community was right next door to us. So I had a mixture of my community and their community. We were neighbors. The girls that I went to school with, they ain't had no little Yorkie teacup dogs. They had Rottweilers. You know what I'm saying? The girl I went to school with, they dogs don't sleep in the bed with them, and they got these little small dogs. Every Black person I know, we had big ass dogs, and they stayed outside. They never came in the house. That's white people shit. That's white people stuff.
They replacing the men with dogs and also with degrees, man. Women are replacing us with degrees. Like, hey, wait a minute. So, nah, I'm getting this degree. It's like, we like, that's like the Lil' Kim. Like, I don't know that Lil' Kim. You know what I'm saying? She bleached. I don't know that Lil' Kim. It's like, nah, I don't. It's a lot of that going in. Serena Williams, like it's programming, man. And I think even a clip of a photo of Megan Good, her skin look a little lighter. It's like, oh shoot, like they got Megan too. It's like, I feel like it's all saying something. Like, yeah, self-love. Like, dang, why we doing this to our skin? Nothing's wrong with our skin. Why they, melanin, the sun even tells us like, yo, your skin is golden. Like, nothing's wrong with your skin. Like, you don't need no damn sunscreen. It's Like, nah, the sun is literally Bay, for the people, for slang for the people. The sun is Bay, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
the problem with that is that when you're in an oppressive situation, you tend to reverse the oppression on yourself, right? So a lot of times when things happen to us as Africans, we say things like, "Man, you only doing this to me because I'm Black,"
Exactly.
right? We never take the time to think to say, "You're only doing this because you're crazy, you're sick, you're a twisted individual." The way you profile it, like something's wrong with you, not because I'm Black. So if we begin to take the position and say, well, you only doing this to me because I'm Black, what happens is the subconscious mind says, if you want to get out of this type of oppression, then remove yourself from being Black. And so we have a lot of people who say things like, oh, I'm Native American. I'm slash this. I got a little Irish in me. Or, it's their way of subconsciously and consciously removing themselves from the stigma of being Black. And you have the Moors who say, I'm not a Moor, don't call me Black. Right?
Yeah.
So we have this in our community where people are ashamed of being Black. And going back to what I said earlier on the previous podcast, we got interrupted, is that when you want to understand a problem, look who's benefiting from the problem. So our failure to want to be Black is a huge financial gain for Europeans through skin bleaching, through the synthetic hairs, through how we marry, through where we buy our homes at. Just a lure of things that they benefit from us not wanting to be Black or wanting to be around Black people.
Exactly. Like
Now,
certain people. Oh yeah, my fault.
yes, I do want to backtrack a little bit and make this statement. What I was saying about Black women don't want to be Black. Not all Black women, but I remember as a child, I was watching this show called America's Top Model.
Yep.
And on the show, there was I'm gonna say Black man who was same gender loving or homosexual, as they call it. And he would teach the girls how to walk and how to sashay and how to carry themselves as women. And when you look at some of the biggest designers in the industry, they are gay men.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the people doing the makeup, they are gay men. So my question now, when we see the behaviors in women, are those really how Black women act, or are they acting like gay men? That's what you have to ask yourself. You have to really sit back and think about that, because you're taking all your cues from a gay Black man. How to walk, how to this, all that, finger snapping. Black women didn't start that. I think that came from gay Black men acting like Black women or thinking to be. So now Black women have re-ingested some idea of what they think being a Black woman is from a gay Black man.
And even to tie it back, Little Nas X, I heard what he did at the BET Awards. I don't really, I don't really care sometimes because we don't even Viacom or BET, Viacom,
right.
And MTV too. Like, yeah, so Nick Cannon, but yeah, like finding out, seeing what he did, like his performance, and then getting saluted from P. Diddy's like, okay, that makes sense. I hear some things about P. Diddy, but that's the other. But yeah, it's like, yeah, we got this becoming normal behavior, which some people say it is, but it's definitely like sodomy behavior. Sodom and Gomorrah. People, the etymology of that. People got to look into that. It's like, and yeah, man, it's twisted. And you mentioned homosexual. We got a brother in a dress. He got the biggest studio ever. Tyler Perry. He got the biggest studio, but he doesn't produce content, like thought-provoking content, like Lovecraft Country, and that HBO by design, like, nah, you don't get no season 2, all right, cool, whatever. She moved to Apple TV, but my thing is, why not Tyler Perry? Like, hey, go to Tyler. Nah, Tyler, he write all the scripts. He have nobody helping with the scripts, so he got a one-track mind to the type of content he want to put out. So it was like, yeah, it's a lot of that going on. It's all design,
Yeah, we have to be careful with content creators because the reality of it is we see the world through our own lenses. So one of the things that I've learned about filmmaking is that filmmaking is nothing more than projection, right? It could be projection from your reality, from your experience, or from things that you are projecting into the future. Like when they make these movies and the world has ended and people are like, like I Am Legend, right? When those movies come out, that's what someone truly believes that is going to happen in the future. And it may really come true, right? So that's what movies are. Movies are projections. And when you look at Tyler Perry's films in context, and you realize his background as a child, I'm not faulting him for this, but his background as a child of being molested, you can see that a lot of his movies have a lot of content for Black families, for Blackness, and Black men and Black women in particular. And this may result, I say may result from his upbringing as a child and how he feels about the Black community. He's projecting his feelings about how he feels about the Black community, how he sees the Black community.
Yeah, it's definitely he got like eight shows, and most of them ties in the same. The content is not really, it's damn near most of them is low vibrational. Definitely can't dive into it. And it's definitely for entertainment. Like dialogue ain't there, so to make up for the dialogue, it's gonna be shooting, craziness, people going to jail every 5 minutes, etc. Like, yeah, it's
and we're not, and I want to be clear on this and say that we're not saying that this doesn't exist, but the one thing that I personally believe is that you can alter the behavior of a community or a sector of people by what you place on television. So let's say, for example, okay, this does exist. You do have crazy grandmas out there who's shooting and doing this and doing that, right? But if you change the dynamic and you give the people a more positive image, right, of themselves, then that can change the culture as well. Prime example would be A Different World. During the seasons of A Different World, when they ran on air, HBCU enrollments were through the roof in the Black community, right? And this is the height of drugs and gangs, 90s, 80s. Like, this is the height of that. Cosby was the height of that, right? But this inspired people. So I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. What I'm saying is give them something other than the grandma in a wig and a dress and some STDs at the end of the movie. Like, that is more to that. Inspire the people. Use your platform to do that. But again, in the system of white supremacy, he knows just as well as you and I know that when he begins to make movies like that, it's a wrap. They're going to find something on him. They're going to pull something out of the closet. They're going to do him like, what was that dude that ran for governor in Florida? Andrew Gillum. He's going to be on a hotel with his bussy in the air, bleeding from a towel. They're going to do something like that to him. And that's just the reality of it. And he knows that.
Sodomy behavior. Yeah, that damn sodomy behavior, man.
They ain't no Illuminati. I ain't talking no Illuminati conspiracy. I ain't talking no, flying spaceships. That's just the reality of it. These white folk do not let you get close to them unless they got something on you. That's just the fact. You can call it Illuminati, you can call it whatever you want, but you ain't getting up there that close to them if they don't have something on you.
Exactly. People got dirt, and even shows, I check out sometimes called Flack, shows like Ray Donovan, they expose how they got a guy that fixes everything. It's like, oh shoot, you got somebody pregnant. All right, let me clean this up. Like, it's like, all right, they got a cleaner behind the scenes, so everybody got dirt. Everybody got dirt. Man. It's it's a balance thing. It's a lack of balance. So I definitely visit different worlds, sometimes even more than Martin. Sometimes looking back, Martin might have been toxic for real.
Like the show. Love Martin. I'm not taking away from Martin.
To the queens, some queens, I can see sometimes.
Martin was toxic. Martin was definitely toxic. Brown skinned brother, dark skinned brother fell in love with a red bone, light skinned sister. Nothing wrong with that, right? Exactly. And will always dog out the dark skinned sister. Talk about her hair texture, BDBs and things like that. It was very disruptive to the psyche as a young African child. Because I can remember the next day coming to school, be like, look at your BDBs to the Black girls in school. So we definitely can see that now. We can see that now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. And yeah, that's the ideas I have, man. You know, producing content that's strictly positive imagery, that's what it's all about, man. If we control the narrative, like nah, they can't paint, they can't frame anything how they want to. Like, yeah,
Right.
we control the negative. Yeah, I mean the narrative is definitely positive imagery we must
Yeah.
paint. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Controlling the narrative. It is 100% about controlling the narrative. I remember I was on a phone call with the educational board of New Jersey. Now, mind you, I don't stay in New Jersey, but they called me to be like a spokesman and to pretend like I lived in that area, so I can kind of like go back and forth with the administration.
Yeah.
And I remember making a comment to I believe the superintendent, and she was like, "Well, we can't teach that." And I was like, "Why?" And she's like, because we just can't teach that. And it was just basic Black history that I was asking her to teach, like some real basic Black, real deal Black history. And she's like, we can't teach that. And so what I took away from that is that she was saying, if we teach you this, how are you going to look at us? How are you going to view us? How are you going to relate to us? And then when you begin to know who you are, how are you going to treat us? And this is what she was saying without saying it. See, a lot of times when we have conversations, we listen to what the person is saying instead of listening to what the person is not saying. That's the
Exactly.
most important part of the conversation. Listening to what they are not saying,
Exactly. I love you,
not what
Cedric.
they're saying.
Exactly. I love you, Cedric, but it's like, hey, man, what's the but? What's going on? It's like,
Right,
yeah, man,
right.
it's deep. This short film, from some people I rock with in Dayton, Ohio. They produced a short film called "Healing Through Freedom." And yeah, it was some white people in the audience, and they was talking about Nixon to the crack epidemic and etc. So yeah, it got touchy feely. It's like, yeah, man, it's yeah, they definitely will be in their feelings. Like, hey, I don't feel that way no more, Cedric. It's like, hey, you ain't trying to help shit, hey. It's like,
Well, you know what? I'm under the firm belief, and I don't mean to cut you, brother. I'm under the firm belief I don't want their help.
exactly, me either.
I believe that we are a mighty enough race that we can lift our own stuff up. I don't want the help because a lot of us are too mentally sick that when they begin to help, we get a Jesus complex, and
Yeah,
we begin to make them the leaders, and we begin to look to them, and then we begin to say, "See, I told you, not all white people." So I would rather their help not be asked for at all or even accepted at all. Excuse me. Anything I do for Africans and by Africans. I ask for African donations, African hands, and that's it. I don't want anything from Yoruba but space. That's
mm,
it.
exactly. Some queen I was recently talking to, and she's from Trinidad, actually, Trinidadian. And yeah, it's like, why would we go to someone that purposely stabbed us, looked us in the eye, stabbed us, like, and it's like, hey, can you call 911? Like, I stabbed you. It's
Right,
like, I meant to harm you. What are you talking about? I'm gonna call
right.
now. I'm gonna stab you again. Actually, it's like, yeah, man. Like, we can't go. We can't.
Yeah.
That's moving backwards. So yeah,
No, I mean they didn't spend 500 years setting the system the way they set it up.
exactly.
They didn't spend all that time, doing that. And that's just the reality of it. So I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
from there, we just got to realize Africans all we got, and we can't even depend on all Africans.
Oh yeah, Ken folks ain't your skin folks, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I probably received the most slanderous talk from black folk. And black folk are supposed to be red, black, and green. That's the sad part about it. We're supposed to be in the community. But those are just niggas and dashikis. That's what I call them, niggas and dashikis.
Yeah, man.
It is what it
Yeah.
is.
And salute to brother Crumb TV. Like he talked to how the Moors was wearing Nikes. Like, what y'all doing? Why y'all wearing Nikes, Moors?
Right.
It's like, yeah, man. And I guess to bring it to a close, man. Talk about the importance of your book. You mentioned your book for the people, and that's where it starts. And it's some queens I know that's teaching foreign language in Columbus, Ohio, as we speak, or Cleveland, Ohio. She's teaching foreign language for our people. That's very important. Being diverse, not that diverse, but language. Language is key. And I feel like we talk this bastardized language as we know English. But what's the importance of what important key gems that's in your book and all the things that you're doing right now?
Well, I think all the things that I've been doing in the past, specifically the past 2 years, have been like enlightening the history between African Americans and Haitians and how deep the history actually goes, right? From Frederick Douglass being the ambassador to Haiti, right? A lot of people not knowing that. From Harriet Tubman actually helping people escape to Haiti, right? Harriet Tubman. We always hear about her running north, but we never hear about her running south and even further south into Haiti, right? Just connecting that history, because we are a powerful, powerful, powerful unit. I think in the Western Hemisphere, and this is just my perspective, when it comes down to the two ethnic groups who have been fighting white supremacy the longest, and whether it be from direct racism or neo-colonialism, it has to be like African Americans and Haitians. All right. Now, a lot of people might not know Haitian history, but only 6 Haitian presidents have actually lived out their term in office since 1804. That's 220 something years, if I'm not mistaken. I could be off, don't quote me. But that's 200 something years where you've had only 6 or 7 presidents live out their term, right? Others were assassinated because they were puppets. Others were overthrown, ran into exile. So we've had a long history of fighting racism, but in the form of neo-colonialism, meaning taking puppet people and putting them in office. So we have a long history as Haitians and Africans in America, and the ADOS movement, plus our own issues, have created sort of a separation. And I admit, I run into continental Africans. They're not always the friendliest. They always got something to say. Hey, oh, you don't know that. You're not from Africa. Some stupid stuff, right? And so one of the things I do is I ask them. I say, well, what language do you primarily speak? Oh, French. What's your religion? Oh, I'm Muslim. I was like, you ain't African. What are you talking about? Like, you a Frenchman mixed with a Muslim. You ain't African. Get out of here, right? So sometimes we have to check each other on that because we get on our high horse at times. But to answer your question, my overall thing has been to connect the division that has been sowed through the Willie Lynch in our minds and through the ideologies that we tend to cling to. So that's been my overall mission, man, because I believe that we are powerful people. I believe all people are African people are powerful people, but just in general, the warrior spirit that we have, like if I was a Hebrew Israelite, and I'm not, by the way, if I was a Hebrew Israelite, they believe that African Americans are the tribe of Judah, right? And they believe that Haitians are the tribe of Levi. Those are the 2 most powerful tribes in that ideology.
Yeah.
Those are because Moses comes from the tribe of Levi, right? And so if you're doing it in that context, I'm just saying you're doing it in that context, those are 2 most powerful tribes, right? And so what country do you hear the most about? Haiti. And always in a rebellion, always tearing some shit up, burning the country up, and you always have African Americans. We always tearing some shit up, burning some shit up. So we have been the most rebellious people in the Western Hemisphere for the past 400, 500 years, in my opinion, from my research. Now, someone else could put something different, I don't know, from my research and from what I know. And so that's what I've been doing, trying to connect all African people together, but specifically kind of quash this Caribbean African American situation that's going on.
Yeah, man, definitely appreciate you, man. And it's definitely important, man. Control, books. And I feel like books are definitely like bookmarks left from ancestors, like, hey, here's some gems that we left behind. Like, hey, better take off what we left off. Like, that's important. And it still always sharp and still. So it definitely have these conversations is definitely important. I'm just 25, exactly. Like, it's important. This message getting out to a 7-year-old or 17-year-old that can change. That could change a destination. Definitely change somebody's life. Getting information that was unknown. Definitely.
And I thank you for having me on, brother. I appreciate it.
Oh man, always, man. Definitely appreciate you. And you know, family member of Conscious and Crazy, man. Any last gems for the people? I know probably tell your information to the people as well. But yeah.
So this is probably the longest I've had an Instagram. It's Brother Hassan 5. This is my 5th Instagram page. The longest I've ever had. I think I had it for like a year now, maybe a year or two. So you can find me on Brother Hassan 5. You can find me on YouTube, Brother Hassan. That's BROTHA, not brother, the white way, but brother. Your brother. Brother Hassan, HASSAN. So you could, if you Google it, you look it up, you can find me. You know, I'm just here, man. Here to serve, pick up where my ancestors left off at, continue to fight, continue to educate, continue to motivate, continue to correct and be corrected, right? When I'm wrong. And that's just it, man. You know, that's just it. So everything is Brother Hassan. You can look me up on anything and everything. Any interviews somebody want to do, I'm here. It's all love. It's all family. Be African, be strong.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. You know, positive energy activates constant elevations, and you know, having conversations, and a couple shows ago, you know, having you know, the great nephew of Malcolm X on the show. It's important, man. And we all need to have a conversation, and we all need to try to find some grounds and common grounds, you know, that we all can, you know, build a bridge to walk over collectively together with. That's all we need to do. Real talk. It's about time. It's way overdue. Yeah, man. The library, the damn book is way overdue. Yeah, man. Appreciate your family. Definitely, man. Positive energy activates constant elevation, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate.
All right. Salute.
Salute.